Have you been told by a doctor or a nutritionist to eat the Mediterranean diet, but you're not really sure why? In this third video of our three-part series, I am walking you through my 3 crucial takeaway messages from a very important research study on the Mediterranean diet and lifestyle. By the end of this video, you will be equipped with the knowledge so you can cut through the confusion and feel fired up to start applying the Mediterranean diet and lifestyle today. Hey there, I'm Dr. Anna. I'm a medical doctor. I was trained in Italy, and on this channel, you will learn how to master the Mediterranean diet. So in our last 2 videos, we walked through the first 2 takeaways that I think are really important for you to understand in order to start appreciating what the health benefits of this diet are really all about and what is the science telling us. So in the first video, which you can click right here if you missed that one, I do recommend you go back and watch that first because it'll make what I'm about to talk about so much more clear. We talked about the dose-response relationship that the researchers uncovered when it comes to following along with the Mediterranean diet and lifestyle. The more closely somebody was adhering to or following along with healthy choices, the more of the health benefit they got overall in the long term. And in the second video, which I'm linking for you right over here, again, check that one out if you missed it. I do recommend you watch that first before you finish this one. We talked about that it is not necessarily a specific component of the Mediterranean diet or the Mediterranean lifestyle practices that was really driving the main benefits that people were getting. And in this research study, what they were looking at was a lower risk for death from any reason, death from cancer, or death from cardiovascular disease or heart disease. So a decreased risk for those things was shown from somebody overall following the Mediterranean diet and lifestyle more closely. Now let's dive into my third crucial must-know takeaway message from this research study. And I want you to listen very carefully in this video through to the end, because what I'm about to teach you is true for any and all research about nutrition and health and lifestyle. And you're going to hear a lot of stuff in the media, on the internet, about people claiming all these kinds of things about nutrition research. I want you to learn so that you can understand for yourself what it means. Does it feel like what we know about nutrition is always changing every few years? I'll tell you, when I was in college and I had to take organic chemistry, we had a professor who always said to us, "This is nutrition today, but don't ask me about nutrition tomorrow," meaning it does kind of feel like everything we know about nutrition is changing all the time. So why is this? Well, the reality is that it is really hard to study the mechanisms in the body that are coming from a diet. Why? Because a diet is a very complex mixture or a symphony of lots of different molecules. And then inside of the body, lots of different chemical reactions are happening and lots of different responses from your cells are occurring, meaning hormone signals and immune responses and digestive juices flowing. There's so much happening when it comes to the response inside of the body from eating food. Not to mention that when we eat food, we're often eating multiple types of food at the same time. I mean, think about a salad or a soup. You might have 10 ingredients in there, and all of those different ingredients are going to have tons of different nutrients, and all of those nutrients are going to have slightly different roles in the body. So that is one thing to appreciate. It is different to study a drug, meaning one molecule at a time, than it is to try to study multiple. Now, you might be asking yourself, is it necessary that we actually know all of the mechanisms of a diet in order to know if it's healthy for us? Well, I have 2 things to say about this. The first is that if we're trying to study the diet in the same way we would study a pharmaceutical, we're probably going to be hitting our heads against the wall. That's not necessarily the best approach to take because it's just really a hard thing to do, and we may never get the answers we're looking for. Instead, you'll notice that a lot of nutrition research is a style of research that looks at whole populations at the same time. And that is because it is easier to study something from a very zoomed out perspective when there's a complex process going on rather than a very zoomed in perspective. Now, what is so awesome about this research study, and this ties us into our third takeaway message, is that the Mediterranean diet and lifestyle, by definition, is a complex healthy practice. It is not one thing. It is many things. It is many types of food. It is many ways of eating. It encompasses a whole lifestyle. And therein might lie the benefit and the secret. I'm going to read you this quote from the research study because I think they really nail it on this one. They say, there are likely multiple lifestyle components that share interrelated biological mechanisms and may have synergistic effects when operate jointly. What does that mean? What is a synergistic effect? Think about when you're at work. Maybe you're working with a colleague. Well, the best way I can describe a synergistic effect is when multiple different factors are interplaying together to create a benefit that is sort of greater than the individual parts, or that there is a bi-directional relationship, that these things are kind of working together in a complex fashion. Now, thinking about the Mediterranean diet and lifestyle, you might be thinking, Dr. Anna, you keep talking about these molecules or these components or these mechanisms. What mechanisms are we even talking about when it comes to the Mediterranean diet and lifestyle? I want you to subscribe, hit that bell notification on, and keep listening, because I'm about to explain something to you that may blow your mind. And believe me when I say you need to understand this in order to understand nutrition and nutrition research. Now, very likely when you're following a Mediterranean diet and eating a lot of foods that are incorporated in the Mediterranean diet, things like lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of whole grains, lots of seeds and nuts, lots of olive oil, lots of healthy fats, a lot of fiber, likely your body is experiencing lots of anti-inflammatory effects, antioxidant effects of all of this healthy food. Now, the researchers of this Mediterranean diet study make this statement, and I want you to hear me. I'm going to read it right from the study so that it sounds very clear. Likely, you are getting anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties of the diet that could protect from all of the following things: platelet aggregation, which is the beginning of a clot formation inside of your bloodstream; improved endothelial function, so that's the inside of your arteries, and that has a really strong implication to a heart attack or a stroke. The anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties may also allow for longer telomere length. Any of you who are really interested in longevity research are going to be interested in this, because your telomeres are these parts of your DNA that shorten as we get older, and if the telomeres elongate or get longer, there is some thought that that might mean that it could play a role in living longer. As well, there may be some benefits for slowing down cell proliferation, meaning growth, angiogenesis, which is the growth of blood vessels, and metastasis, which is the spreading of cancer, as well as a host of other properties like anti-aging effects, decreasing inflammation, decreasing obesity, and decreasing the risk for early death. But here is the crucial part. All of these mechanisms might be happening, and all of these benefits might be coming from the Mediterranean diet and lifestyle approach, because a lot of research is indicating that these things are happening. But for you today, you're sitting at home, you're in your living room, you're at your desk, and you might be thinking to yourself that you want to be healthy and you want to lose weight and you want to decrease your pain and you don't want to get all these diseases. I am here to tell you that your body is going to get the benefits whether you know about how these mechanisms really are working or not. What that means is there's enough evidence to support following this Mediterranean diet, lifestyle, and approach that you don't need to dig into the details in order to get the benefit of it. Now, by all means, if you're interested in the research, you can stick with me. I'm going to be making a lot more videos so we can all learn together in our healthy community. But if you're not interested in all the details, don't worry about that. You don't need to know how it's working in order to know that it is working. You can leave that digging for us healthcare professionals if you prefer. And by the way, if you're liking this video so far, or if you're learning something new, I want you to like it and share it with somebody that you think could benefit from this information. Now, I could sit here and rattle off to you a long list of very long and fancy sounding words like polyphenols and phytonutrients and resveratrol and lycopene and DHA and EPA and omega-3 fatty acids and all of these nutrients. And it might sound really cool and fancy. And I know a lot of people out there do this, but don't let it distract you. The more knowledge you have doesn't necessarily translate into more action taken on making healthier choices. And what I want you to take away from this video is to think about, okay, I can harbor myself with knowledge and I can learn about some of these mechanisms or learn about some of these benefits to my health, but unless you're taking action and you're making healthier meals and you're making healthier grocery lists and you're engaging in healthier behaviors, none of the other stuff really matters. But at the same time, what we've learned in our 3-part series here is that even some action, even some healthy choices, even some adherence to the Mediterranean diet and lifestyle is still going to give you some benefit. So be patient with yourself, recognize where you are, and slowly build up over time. Stick with me on this channel, and if you're curious to learn about some specific things that might be healthy for you to start incorporating now, maybe you want to start with something as simple as the oil or the fat that you're using in your diet. Go ahead and check out this video here where I talk about olive oil versus butter. What are the differences in their health properties, and what should we know about them in order to decide when to use one or the other? Go ahead, check out that video. I'll see you over there.